What is that to the State of the Nation? Welcome to the State of the Nation. My name is Henry Ssali. I know we haven't been featuring for a couple of weeks now, about 3 weeks, maybe four. Uh, but we are back, and we are back in a strong gear. Thank you so much for joining us here today. The conversation today is in regard to Veterans Day, and we are going to be discussing what females have contributed to this to the services in the U.S. Armed Forces. Who is here today? How did they get into the armed forces? What have they learned, and what can they teach our sisters and brothers, both here and back home? Tukwaniriza webale kubeera ng'otugoberera olwaleero. Amannya gange nze Henry Ssali for the African Alumni Association. In the studios today we have female armed forces folks who are going to be educating us on a couple of things regarding the Army in the US. What does it mean to serve? What can you learn? They're also going to tell us about their goals. What are their goals? And what do you need to know? Wetaga kumanya chichi. Wetaga kumanya chi. Again, thank you so much for joining us to the State of the Nation. Tugenda kukomawo katono nnyo. Just a moment.
This is the State of the Nation. Rifa Mwanga. We are deliberate, we are reasonable, we are uncensored. The State of the Nation with Henry Ssali.
All right. Welcome to the State of the Nation. In the studio today, I have two folks who are going to introduce themselves. Afande Momo, and of course Ziada, who is also an Afande her on REM. We are expecting the newly crowned Lieutenant Col Lukiah Mulumba. She'll be joining us shortly whenever she gets the time. So I'm going to start with Afande Momo. Welcome back to the State of the Nation, this time in a different capacity. And I hope you are excited to be here. Why don't you tell us who you are and what's going on in your life? Unmute yourself and
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me once again to the State of the Nation. And I'm glad, yes, I'm back in a different capacity as an armed forces lady. And I'm glad I have my comrade or colleague, Afande Zash Nantenza. And we hope that Madam or the Lieutenant Ma'am Lukiah Mulumba would join us, but she has technical problems, so she's trying to get herself situated and also to see if she can join us for 10 minutes because she has a project going on. So we would be happy to see her, but if she doesn't, hey, we'll have another time. Thank you.
We are going to keep on helping her in the background and see if she can get in.
Okay.
Otherwise, we are excited to hear from you as well. Afande Ziada, welcome back to the State of the Nation in a different capacity as well. How are you doing? And,
go ahead.
Go ahead. What's up? What's up with you? Tell us about you.
You paused then.
I did pause because I always want to listen. So yeah, and I think we can use both languages, the Uganda language as well as the English language, whichever you feel more comfortable situating yourself. So please go ahead. Tubulire gwani era why are you here today?
Today I'm here. First and foremost, I will say hello to everyone here, and I really appreciate everybody who's there watching. I'm here, as everybody knows me, Zash Nantenza. I go by Zash. And today I'm here as a service member, military member. I'm in the Army. I've been in the military, it's getting closely to 2 years now. And I'm proudly serving. I love the military. I don't regret. That's one of the biggest decisions I've made in my life.
One of the biggest decisions you have made in your life. That's not a simple statement. I wonder if Afande Momo would also categorize it as such. One of the biggest decisions you have made in your life. I know you are both Ugandans, obviously, but back in the day, many people used to be discouraged from getting into the army, specifically in central Buganda, at least. Uh, that has changed. And when you see more and more Ugandans in the US serving diligently and becoming excellent in what they are doing, and being promoted to different ranks, uh, that is not just progress for Ugandans, but it's also something to celebrate. So as we celebrate, or we celebrated Veterans Day, uh, I think this is a new milestone for the Ugandan diaspora, specifically those in the US. And I want to take this moment, first of all, to appreciate you for serving, uh, and to celebrate you. Also, I would like to learn a few things uh, in my capacity as a male, straight male, obviously, but also as a Ugandan. Mwachikola mutya, how did you decide that, you know what, this is going to be my pathway? I'm going to get into the army, and this is how I'm going to serve. So I'm going to start with Afande Momo. Uh, Tell us about your journey in the armed forces, and why Veterans Day is important to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Ssali. And I would want to say that the journey of becoming a military personnel in the American forces um, wasn't a journey that I thought about diligently. I'm truthful to that. But I always tell people, no, I just wrote my resume out and then put it online. And in that format, a recruiter allocated me and told me, "Are you interested in the armed forces?" And I go like, "Yes." What are armed forces? So
Right,
I just said yes to it. So he
right,
told me, "Okay, this is my phone number, contact, and where you can find me. You can come and we discuss."
right.
So I go like, "Am I ready for that?" Then I
No,
asked around, and they gave me three names, and the three names were Nakato Namutebi, Lukiah Mulumba, and Frank Musisi. So when they gave me these three names, they said these are the people we know that have entered the military and are doing well. So you can go look for them. I
right,
I go like, I do not know these people. So I'm not looking for anybody because I don't know them. But then Afande Musisi, then in 2009, I think he was the UNA president around that time. So that is how I linked up with him because I could get in contact with him. So we talked, and I told him my aspirations, and he told me, go do it. So this is how I ended up in the military. And years back now, I'm in 12 year in the military, and I'm happy and enjoying it and celebrating every little bit. I celebrate the Veterans Day because it's a day for us who are serving and
right,
those who have served. Okay.
right. Yeah,
Um, that day is commemorated by a world war. It starts
Right.
with
Yeah.
World War One.
Yeah.
So those who had died in the war and those who are still serving came back to celebrate each other. So that is how Veterans Day was inaugurated. It's a day which was supposed to be in October, but they moved it to November due to the World War One.
Yes.
However, they
Yeah.
thought that was the end, and it came up to World War Two and Korean War and Vietnam
I
War.
know.
So other wars came up, and we're
Yeah.
still celebrating it, and we're still losing our comrades in the war, but we still come back and say thank you to those who have served and those who are still serving, because freedom doesn't come free. It's always at a cost.
Yeah, freedom is not free. That's absolutely true. And I appreciate that you have pointed out that it is attached, it is some way, in some way connected to the World War. Uh, in Canada, for example, we call it Remembrance Day. I know in the
Mm,
US you have Memorial Day, so I wanted
mm,
to ask you to ask you a little bit about that, the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and you have about five, I think 4 or 5 armed days to celebrate,
to
or army
celebrate.
days, yeah, to
Mm,
celebrate. So
mm,
I wanted to find out what the differences are. But I know in Canada we call it Remembrance Day, and as you are
mm.
celebrating Veterans Day, we were here celebrating
The
uh,
Remembrance Day.
Remembrance Day. We do have a poppy that we put on to celebrate our armed forces. It is a sign of patriotism, but it is also uh, a point to show, to remember, to show the world that, you know what, the
Mm,
peace you are enjoying today, uh,
mm,
you wouldn't probably have enjoyed it if we hadn't stopped the Nazis, or if we hadn't
mhm,
stopped all those uh, very tough wars that happened. Now,
mm,
in some sections of society, as you know,
mm.
there are some people who are contesting, celebrating these days. Of course, some people uh, within the academic realm that tend to question, why do we have to celebrate this? Why is it important? But those contestations, you have to let people say what they want to say without
Mhm,
necessarily
mhm.
interfering on the freedom that you created for them, because that's why they get to discuss certain things, even when you don't like the discussion, because of
Yes,
the freedom, yeah, because of the freedom you gave them, you let them discuss
you
whatever
gotta
they want to
entertain
discuss.
that. Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Zash, how about you? How was your journey? Did you also stumble into this, or did you actually plan and
No,
decide that?
like, well, like it's both. I would say it's both, halfway planned, halfway not planned.
Right,
Because the first part of it, where I say like it's halfway not planned, when I just came here, I joined school and I was like all like career oriented, like seeing myself in it, like get a career and see myself somewhere. So I went to school, and then later on, I realized that I was digging into student loans.
right.
And I was there one day at home. I'm like, okay, I need to stop these student loans, because, like, when I graduate, it's going to be like a lot on me. Then from nowhere, I received a call on my phone, and he was like, "Hey, this is a recruiter, a military recruiter, and I just called to see if you can join the military." And I'm like, "No, there is no way I can join the military. I'm not going to die." and And I'm
Right.
like, my family is not even going to support this. And I'm like, no, 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 even don't ever call me back. Just like get my number out of the list.
Yeah.
So it took like another year. And I was still thinking about how I was doing things. Like I needed to do school. Like I thought about like paying for my tuition,
Right.
being school and work, which was a lot. I could not do all that stuff at one time. Then, so time came, like I was kind of like struggling, and I felt like I needed to belong somewhere, and I didn't really know where I would belong. I wanted something that would add on something to me. I ended up like in volleyball clubs, other sports club. I tried to do like interact with different women, And I still felt like, well, I like this, it adds something to me, but I feel like there's something missing. And when I say it was my decision, that's when I picked up my phone and I called the recruiter. It was the same guy who had called me. And I even did expect that he was going to be the same guy because I just looked like nearby recruiters. And I'm like, okay, let me just listen to this. So I called him. And the first thing I told him, okay, I'm scared of dying. And then he was like, so how are you going to serve your country when you're scared of dying? Because it's all about like everything. He said, like, you're not going to die, but like it's all about everything. You can expect anything.
Right.
Then I'm like, okay, but I feel like at this time maybe I need to talk to you. So
right.
He gave me his address. I went in, we talked. Then there is a first test which we did. Then he told me about everything. So you are going to go to basic training. They'll take away your phone for a couple of months. And I'm like, there's no way I can be without my phone. And I'm like, see you later. Peace out. Then I peaced out. I went for another 6 months.
Oh my goodness.
And I say there is no way I can be without my phone. So within those 6 months, this guy reached out to me and he's like, have you thought about it? And he's like, okay, think about this. If you had joined the military, it's like 4 months now, you would have been having your phone right now, building another career in the military, and having your student loans like covered, like all that stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, had I joined like basic training by now, should have been done. And so then I'm like, okay, I need to think about this. So
Right.
I thought about it. Then I went to him and I'm like, can this thing be done in just a couple of months? And then he's like, okay, yeah, it will be done. And I'm like, can I ship away? Like, can I ship in just like a month? Then he's like, yeah, sure. But so I don't regret like joining how I joined. I really like it, but like I can say, had I known somebody who was in the military, like Afande Momo, Afande Musisi, it would have been something better for me to make the right decisions. I don't say I made the wrong decisions, but I would have made the best decisions. So
Earlier as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how I ended up in the military. And the other thing, I didn't even want to share this with anybody because I went and I graduated when nobody knew what was going on. Like I cut off my social media. I was like off social media for like a year. Then I didn't communicate with anybody. Here in Columbus, people were looking for me. They didn't know where I was. But the thing was that I was so scared because I was like, people are going to laugh at me and be like, why did she even end up in the military when she cannot make it? Because there is no way I could ever believe in myself that I could go to the military and I graduate. So I chose to stay quiet. I did my thing. I used to write to my best friend, send her letters, and I could like put some tears in the letters.
Oh my goodness.
And when I drop my tears, I circled it, then and I send them to her. But then she would reply, and also she would shed some tears and circle them. Then like 3 weeks later, when I had been there like 3 weeks, everything worked out. And even when I graduated, I was like, why was I even scared? I can even do this thing like 100 more times. And yeah, basically that's how I ended up in the military. And the reason that took me there, like, because I felt like I needed to belong. Ever since I joined the military, I feel like I'm so proud. Like everywhere I go, I'm so proud to tell people I'm a service member. I even feel so proud that I'm adding something on this country. Like I feel like I'm getting something out of it and I'm paying back something to it. Just like Jeff Kennedy said, like Ask not what the country has done for you, but ask what you can do for the country. So I feel like I'm doing something for the country, and the country is doing a lot for me in return.
Right. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this information, especially the process, the process of grappling with that decision.
Yeah, Henry, that process is very hard.
Yeah,
that process is a process where everybody who will enter the military will tell you they have that process where they sit and say, did I shoot myself in the foot?
right.
What did I just do? You know?
I know. It's a tough
And
decision.
where am I? You know, you ask all these why, where's, and how. I remember my process. When I went through the recruiter, I tell you, I came back, told 2 or 3 people, but I didn't tell my mama because I knew she was going to tell me, there's no way I'm seeing my child come back in a casket from Afghanistan. Because that time, and Iraq, that time, everybody was coming back in a casket. That's what was on the news. So people were so devastated. And then I'm just going to swear in. So I really went with one individual who saw me on my swearing in ceremony.
Right. And your graduation.
No, my swearing, you swear in before you even graduate.
Oh, okay.
Swearing. The process is very beautiful. You have to do an ASVAB test. The ASVAB test is what takes you into whatever MOS you're going to do.
Right.
So you have to pass that aptitude test with some good marks.
Right.
And if you don't have the good marks, you have to redo it until you get to the marks that the military wants for you to join the ranks. So people keep practicing the ASVAB and the aptitude test. It's an 8-part test. Right. But they give you only 4 when you go to the recruiter. The recruiter deceives you. There are only 4. And then you get to and then you find there are 8 and you're doing parts, circles and everything. You're like, where is this?
They told me 4 parts.
But all that, you go through it. You go through maps and then you go like, okay, this one even wasn't told to me. And then you swear in and then they give you a hotel. Then they ship you. Right. But on that way, when I was being shipped, I'm one of the people, the other may not have cried. Me, I cried for my boys. Because I said, what is going on? Where are they taking me? I'm already separated with my boys. I had never, ever separated with my boys. And my youngest child was 2 years, 2.5 years. So I was really, really attached to my babies. And the mere fact that you're telling me, you gotta let go, I was like, this is not happening. Right. I was the most miserable person in basic training because I was just thinking about my boys. Right. And everything I was doing, I was like, my boys, I just want to get back to my boys. But every time you go into the training, every week you mass into that training, you adapt, overcome, and become more resilient. So it was a training that I had never done a push-up because for me, push-ups, I thought they are for men who are in prison, because that's what I grew up knowing that if you've done a crime, that's how you do the push-ups. I never knew that the push-ups are just for everybody. So when they told me, get down, I go like, what did I do? I didn't do nothing wrong. They get down, I go like, okay. Everybody was like, get down. They had to pull me down. I go like, okay. I went down and then they said, push. And then I go like, push? I've done nothing wrong. What is wrong with you guys? Why are you pushing? You guys may have done something wrong, but me, I haven't said anything to anyone. I'm just with my cargo and I'm quiet. They said, when you get here, it's all about pushing. I go like, oh. So that was the first lesson. So I pushed my way through all basic training. Right. I learned how to do my push-ups. I learned my sit-ups. I was a runner, so I did not really mind about running because that was something I really love. I've always been a sports girl, so running wasn't something that I look at and say, oh man, but the push-ups was my challenging point. Another challenging point, I'll tell you, Mr. Ssali, was the weapon.
Yes. Before you tell us about the weapon,
that was something like I also have my story. Like one of the biggest reasons, like why I never wanted to join the military, because I was like, before I joined, I was this person who was against like guns, weapons, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and I never.
Zash, before you proceed, I want to recognize Mr. Mike Mukasa, who is also a serving member of the armed forces, and I want to let him know that we are celebrating him this weekend as we remember and appreciate all the people who are serving.
And he was supposed to be on the show, but
he was also supposed to be on the show, but he was very busy, so he ended up changing the theme to celebrating women. I want to also recognize and appreciate Lieutenant Col Lukiah Mulumba, who has just been promoted, and appreciate her for the work that she does. I would like to appreciate and thank Major Musisi for the incredible work he's doing in the army, and for the inspiration he has done within the Ugandan community. I know so many people have contacted him regarding this process, vigorous process. He has also done an incredible job leading in this community. So proceed with those processes, and Mr. Mukasa was saying that I think something that you cannot forget is the ride from the airport to basic training. you two ladies in the room, you're going to tell us about that experience. What is that like? But please, Zash, proceed. Sorry for the interruption there.
Okay, so my experience about the bus from the airport, we got at the airport, it was around 11 p.m. So when we got there, it was a Monday night. So I woke up at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I stayed up the whole day. So my flight was at 6 p.m. and I got at Columbia, South Carolina at 11 p.m. And the moment we got there, I saw this one drill sergeant. He was wearing a drill sergeant hat. And I'm like, why is he even wearing that cowboy hat? It kind of looked like a cowboy hat. And then he was like, shut up. From this point, you're going to be, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, drill sergeant. Everything I said, yes, drill sergeant. And then they asked us to sit down on the floor at the airport. So we sat down, we sat in the lines, everybody, they gave us like a welcoming package, and they wanted us to write in our names, our details, like emergency contacts and all that stuff. So we sat there and we waited, and something I hated most in my life, like I just learned this after joining the military, something I hated most is just being there waiting and waiting, like when I don't know what is going on or what I'm supposed to do or what I can do, or I even cannot talk. So we were there, you were just quiet, because like that's the time they are breaking you down, they're breaking these habits that you've come with from the civilian life, and they're trying to get you into the military life. So getting out of your comfort zone and learn to respond to somebody, yes, sir, yes, real sergeant, that's rough. Like you'd be like, I'm used to paying my own rent. Nobody even shows up on my door to be like, you guys should do this. And now somebody who's even not paying your rent has to tell you to do something. Right. But like all in all, this is a mental game. I don't want people to think like this is really hard. This is a mental game. You play it mentally, you succeed. So I was there and I'm like, okay, what do you even want from me? Like, I'm doing the right thing. I'm seated down here and you're still yelling at me. Then they got us on the bus. So the bus came around 12 in the midnight. And they started, get on the bus, get on the bus, get on the bus. And like, we didn't say anything. Then the drill sergeant was like, what the you need to say yes, real sergeant. And then we were like, okay, yes, real sergeant. Like everything I say, yes, real sergeant, no, real sergeant. You don't even say anything. So we got on the bus, and then we got on the bus. Then he said, is there anybody who lied about something before we go from here? And then I started shaking. I'm like, okay, I have a speeding ticket, but I didn't think about it. And then we had signed up all these documents, like releasing all information about us, medical health, driving records, like employment records. And then I started shaking. Then he came back because he saw me shaking, and he's like, why are you shaking?
toyogerera kuletera obuzibu owobeerawo ekintu kyonna kijja kuleta obuzibu tokyogerako
gyewali naye gwe gamba jusi baakugyamu engeri eyo.
The fear. They remove the fear from you.
The fear from
you.
They
remove the stigma from you. They remove all the bad manners you got, all the ill behavior. Because in the army, all you gotta do is to follow orders.
Right.
So all we're doing in the military is to follow orders, because there's a lot of orders coming from above, and you are the last man standing. Okay. Because you are entering as a newbie, as a private or whatever you are. You're just new in the military. So these people who have been in the military for years are thinking for you. And the thinking is good thinking. And they're making you know that if you make any tiny, tiny mistake, you have tarnished everybody.
Right.
That is why we follow orders, because attention to detail is the key to everything that we do. When you do not have that detail, there's a likelihood that you're going to tarnish your whole squad, your whole unit downrange, because you did not listen. So when we come in, that's exactly what they're going to tell you or do to you, so that you adapt to this mechanism immediately when you have come into the military. So that is beautiful. I gotta tell you, it's one of the things that when you get used to, even the drill sergeants you're looking at with all the funny hats, they become your
I swear, I miss my experience.
I did not know I would even rub shoulders with that person. But you start up like that. You start knowing that there are people in your lifestyle who are going to direct you, make you know what you do, and you're going to be respectful, and you're still going to crack jokes and enjoy life. Everything is in there, but it does not change the fact that it's your boss. So when we say that this culture, we want to pour it into our community because we see it works, it's a culture that works, and everybody should be enjoying. Because when you see Afande Momo on the streets, you're going to say, like, she's not even like an Afande. Yeah. Because I don't need to be threatening. I just need to say what we need to say so that we move the community forward. So we learned that we have leaders who are going to tell us, hey, we need this one to move to this A place from A to B. We will move it and still enjoy and joke around. That is the kind of leadership we want to see, not leadership where I'm in air and you don't have to come next to me because I'm a leader. No, we want that leadership where we're interacting, where we're all saying things, and where we're improving each other's lives. So that's the beauty of military. But I just want to go back to the weapon.
Right, yes.
It's very interesting for me. I gotta tell you, it's one of my hardest things, and I thought I had failed because of the weapon, because I did not know how to do the weapon at all. So you have to learn to break it up. So that one I did. You break it up and put it back together. That was beautiful. So when I passed that, I thought that I had passed the weapon. No. You gotta go to the range and shoot and make sure that you qualify with 23 rounds in the target.
Did you qualify in basic training?
So yes, I did qualify. So I went on the line. I gotta tell you, I took 4 good days trying to qualify, but we start all of us as a unit,
Right.
and whichever qualifies, that is day 0, day 1, day 1. That's how you go until your whole unit is done. And if you fail in the 4 days, they give you a go back. So
Right.
every day, I had never held a weapon, and I had never put no live ammunition in a weapon. So everything was just learning. And I had people who are training me, somebody to train you on the fly. We call it on the fly, is on the go,
Right.
training you on the range. And even they are shooting and you shooting. And they are giving you a training, hey, do this. So that basic marksmanship is what makes me very proud of being an Afande, because I got to learn on the fly. I got to shoot. But I remember the last 2 days on our range, we were only foreigners. Anybody foreign was the only one on that line. Everybody who is white American had already qualified in the first 2 days. And I go like, where did they find the weapon? I did not know that in America, everybody just is so much gun related. So we remained all the Ghanaians, Indian, Kenyan, name it. Anything foreign was on the line, but nobody American. So they said, we're going to start with 1 by 1. And they started teaching us, and those are the drill sergeants. And they did a good job, and we learned the weapon, and I qualified. I qualified on my 3rd day, and the last day, they took back like 8 people who failed. But it's just, they call it reclassing. They reclass you or give you another cycle to go through, and so that you can learn more about the weapon. But when I qualified, I just still cried. I go like, oh my God, that was the biggest challenge I've ever had. But guess what? It wasn't the biggest challenge. Everything you go through, they tell you the only ugly thing in the military you're going to find is going to be in basic training.
Right.
As you go on, you're going to enjoy the military. But when they're telling you that slogan in basic training, you're like, what? You're just trying to make me feel comfortable. But it's the truth. It gets easier and easier as you go on. Now,
as in every field, yeah.
It becomes more lively.
Yeah,
it
learning
becomes
the basics
more, but basic is what breaks you. So that's why it's really a boot camp. And right now they've introduced the AFCT, the Army Physical Combat Training. It's coming up. And that one is going to be a breaker. I said the weapon broke me.
That's much easier, Fande Mom.
I find it's much easier for you because you're still young, and that's exactly what we are talking about with Afande Mulumba. And we're saying that we wanted to tell you about old women and the challenges they get when they are in the military, because when you're young, everything has to work out for you. And that's how the military is built for young people.
Right.
And if at all you're not young and you enter the military when you're old, the challenges you find in there are just like, did I just do that? Okay, I'm done. I hope I didn't break a bone. I didn't do this. My back is still intact. All that is taken into consideration. So it is beautiful that we have the older generation, and now we have the Zash, the younger generation coming on. And we are loving it and seeing that let's continue to inspire more people to join the ranks and make it better for our communities, because we would be speaking one language than speaking a lot of dialogue, 56 dialogues now. That's what we are speaking. But we want to end up in one language via leadership and communication. And I think it will be a better process.
Zash, what was your experience about the weapons? You have had more Afande Momo's experiences.
Basically, I even didn't qualify when I was in basic training. I was supposed to be recycled Because what happened, so when I started, I zeroed, like how you you align up your weapon. I zeroed so fast, I zeroed good. But when we came to go down the range on qualification, I didn't. Like I think I was the only person who even didn't qualify. They tried to work with me. They were so patient. They got people even from everywhere to see if I could qualify. And I failed. For some reason, I could not see anything. Like every time I could look and they tell you have to do, because there are principles that we follow. You have to like steady position, you find your side and your breathing. You have to control your breathing and the trigger squeeze. So every time I could do the trigger squeeze, I couldn't control my breathing. Every time I do my breathing, I cannot do my trigger squeeze. And I'm like, for some reason, I don't know, this is not even meant for me. So then my drill sergeant came and like I was crying. I got so depressed like during those couple of days. And I'm like, what is this? But I realized that I even didn't give myself a chance to be like, okay, let me learn this and do it. I just kept on saying that this is so hard. This is hard. I cannot even do it. I cannot even hold this rifle because it's heavy. And that was my reason, like why I couldn't qualify. Then, so on the last day where they were supposed to help me, I fell down and my knee got messed up. So I couldn't walk. I was so much in pain. They put me on profile. Then they told me I couldn't qualify. I couldn't even, the profile I had was like I wasn't allowed to carry the weapon. Then what happened, my drill sergeant came to me and he was like, okay, we are going to recycle, take you back 3 weeks. And that's the worst news that you can ever hear in basic training. So then what I did, what helped me, because the first time I did the fitness test, the SCFU, I failed it. I felt like I failed 2 events. It's supposed to be 6 of them. Then they were like, okay, your fitness test is not good. Your qualification with the weapon is not good. Your everything is not good. That's how I was told. So I'm like, this is so mean. Then what I did, I used to wake up every night because we used to do fire guard where you wake up in the middle of the night to watch like everybody is okay, everything is being done, and you do the housework. So every time I could wake up on fire guard, I used to like do push-ups. I was doing my push-ups on the knees and I couldn't push myself up from off the floor. Then I could do the dumbbells, the kettlebells. I walk around the bay. I'm running with the kettlebells. I'm like, okay, I've survived a lot of things. Then that means I can survive this. I grew up in the village. I've been in farming. I've done everything. I've done from the morning till the evening. So don't tell me that I cannot do this. Then what happened? It started to work out like that night. That like I pushed myself off the ground. I did.
So once you give yourself a chance, things started working out.
Yeah, because like I kept on remembering, but it was, my recruiter said this is a mental game. Like your body, and every day they used to tell us, your body can do everything. It's only your mind that limits you from doing whatever you're going to do. And then I pushed myself off the ground. I'm like, okay, at least I have to do something. Then a week later, we had our fitness test. When we had our fitness test, I passed all the 6 events. I passed the leg tuck. The leg tuck is where you do like a dead hang. You hold yourself, then you get your knees and you have to make them hit here because you have to do a dead hang for like 2-3 seconds. Then you pull your legs and make them hit your elbows, which is not easy. It seems to be easy to a lot of people. Not everybody can do that. I passed by 3 leg tucks, which was like a 70%. I'm like, this is amazing. So that same evening, my drill sergeant came to me and he's like, okay, I know you didn't qualify with the weapon, but you're going to graduate.
Right.
So I'm like,
And I think what we learned from your story, especially that very vulnerable moment when you felt most vulnerable, when your mind, you couldn't tell your, like, in your mind you couldn't do it. It was too hard. Why am I even doing this? I shouldn't be here. Like, we're always our biggest enemies. We always tell
Correct.
ourselves, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, until you change the mindset and can do this. This is possible. This, like, it reminds me, like, when you were talking, when you're saying whatever you told us about, I kept telling myself I can't do it. And I failed the first one. I also failed the second one. What I was remembering is Washington. Washington is Denzel Washington's speech when he said that when you can fall 7 times, but get up the eighth time, and
Right.
keep walking. That's how you succeed. You don't succeed by falling once and giving up. I've fallen now, I'm not gonna continue walking. You have to keep walking, keep walking. You fall 7 times, you get up the eighth time and continue walking. Afande Momo, what do you want to say about that? At what point during the basic training did you feel like I'm giving up now? But did give
like
up?
I told you, my point was in the beginning. I did not want to go because I just
Right.
didn't want to leave my family. My
Kids,
boys,
I know,
my boys
like,
were everything. So if that bus ride, they would stop somewhere and tell me get off. I
you
would
would
be
have
the
gotten
first
up.
person to run off that bus, like woo. But
Right.
everything they told us, there's no way. And then there came the injections.
Right.
They
Oh,
the immunizations were so many. Like I just got sick. My whole hand got swollen like this.
right.
So, and then you have to do the push-ups to get the hand better.
I know. Just
So
keep pushing, keep pushing, keep
you
pushing.
just keep pushing. That's the slogan, you know.
Yeah.
That's why
So,
we are able to, when you find people, you go like, I don't know how somebody does it, how she's so energetic in this way, because we are told to push through. We are told to soldier on. There's nothing that is going to hang you down, you know. No, you just have to go through. Yes, it is a hiccup on the way, but there is more coming. There's more, which is beautiful, which you're gonna meet across, where you're gonna excel. And then those ones who have been excelling are gonna be struggling, and you're gonna also
right.
help them come across, you know, to the finish line. So it is just a vicious circle. It's a circle. Everybody is useful, and everybody is more instrumental. And we use the battle buddy mechanism, whereby we
Right.
don't leave no foreign comrade behind. Okay, so when we
Right.
know that we are supposed to be working with Maureen, and she has a weakness maybe in the pull up or leg tuck twist, everybody's going to come to show you how they do their leg tuck twist. So it is
Right.
up to you to look at everybody and say, hey, Henry's mechanism works for me than Zash. Zash does
Right.
it, but guess what? I cannot do it the way Zash does it. But Henry says there's a way you hold your bar, there's the position you take, and then pull it, you know?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
you do it, you go like, Henry's mechanism works better than Zash. So Zash tells you, no, my mechanism is better. Even I do 5. Henry doesn't, you know, all that comes into play. But the mere fact that they've helped you realize your potential, that is your body, you know, because the body
Right.
has moved you from I cannot to I
So I
can,
can.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So with that
Yeah.
body system is very much the teamwork system. So we love it so much because you cannot fail when you got a team or a buddy. A
You
buddy will
can't
always
fail.
look
Yeah.
out for you. A buddy will always know where you are. A buddy will always tap on you and say, hey, we gotta go. Hey, we gotta do this. Hey, you're slacking. Hey, you know, everything, the buddy system works with you. So it's a good networking system. It's a good team building system. And it has built the profession of arms so well. So I love that system. I use it everywhere I go. I use it on my boys. I use it in my church. I use it in every leadership I get to, because I feel if you don't have a team or you don't have people to look out for you, you cannot do it on your own. You need a ladder, and you need to go with your friends up that ladder. You need to go higher and pull others also with you and get to
Right.
the finish line.
And that last statement that you just made, that you need a ladder, you need a team, you need a buddy
Mm.
system, it
Mm.
reminds me of what Zash said earlier, that this has created a sense of belonging for her. Which means you know that I can rely on this person, I can rely on this person, I can rely on this person. You're part of the puzzle, and without you, the puzzle cannot complete. But it can also not complete without others, and that's why it's very vital for you to be mindful of the people around you, and understand that without me, the entire puzzle is broken. So I have to be ready. I have to be ready in all circumstances in order to keep my puzzle functional. In other words, even when we are at the battlefield, one single mistake, if I don't listen to the chain of command, one single mistake, if it's made by me, the entire group might potentially perish. Which brings me to this question. I have recognized that many of the people, especially Ugandans, that have served in the armed forces, specifically in the US, they are also heavily involved in community. They serve in different capacities within the community.
Yeah.
What do you learn? What do you learn within the armed forces that encourages you to also be active everywhere else? And how do you balance it? How do you balance between serving the armed forces, but also serving our community and also excelling at your own workplaces?
Exactly. That is what is built in us. That's the resilience that they build in us. But remember, the military or armed forces is a voluntary job because you volunteer to serve.
Right.
So the moment you put up your hand, for them, it's 1% of the population that put up their hand to serve. In fact, 1 to 10%, that's all of the American population that really serve. So it's a volunteer basis. And the mere fact that we are volunteering, and when you get there, you find exactly your volunteering, because there's nothing that can be given to you to equate to your life, because you have volunteered to die while serving. That is
Right.
exactly the bottom line of it all. You have not volunteered just to serve, but you're gonna die. You're gonna put your life on the line to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we come here and volunteer in our communities, we just want to volunteer because we have nothing even on the line, and we still want to give our best because we're already giving it to our country. A community is a small section of our country, so
Right.
it's just trickling down, and we find that we are just immersed into it. We just enter into the community and do it right, and then when it comes to your job, because me, I'm reservist, unlike
Yeah.
Major Musisi, or because I started out in the active military, so I can tell you that part. So when you get to the active military, you just have to go in and work a normal job. I always tell
Right.
people work 9 to 5,
5.
even
Right.
to 4, even to
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
beautiful, but nobody knows that. But we wake up at 6 to do physical training. We gotta do PT. So PT is done every day just to improve your awareness. So
Right.
with that, when you have a job, which is a 9 to 5 job, normal job, you volunteer already, and then you also add on to your community, you find that it's all flowing. It's one sequence.
Right.
You don't find that you have to divide a lot of time. No, it's one sequence. It's just that me, how I do it, I know I dedicate my Saturdays. I dedicate one day in a week. That's my Saturdays. I always dedicate it to the community. So I do that. Anytime on Saturday, if you find me, I'll come out in the community and help you and do something for you or for the community. So that is how I give back to my community in that way. And then the job is 9 to 5, and my job is the same job I do in the military. So
Right.
I do my legal work. So I do a legal work in the civilian world. I do the legal work in the military world, and I also help out in my community via legal aspects. So everything is just flowing in each other. I'm just a phone call away. I'm just, there to help you make amicable settlements, mediation, arbitration, things like that. Channel you to the right place, mechanism, refer you. Those are the things which I deal with every day. So there's
Right.
nothing like I'm really taking out a lot of time to do anything extraordinary. But I think I just fit in those perspectives, and in order to help my community, that is what I do. We're always ready to serve.
Always ready to serve. Zash, what are your thoughts about that? How has the military shaped your community engagement?
So like for my case, the first thing like in the military they teach you is all about teamwork. So I believe in teamwork. I believe in like getting together with people and like do things that help us, like help the community. Um, so I think that keeps me so much pushing because like I always want to see like better other people or like better something. And I know that I always need people. So that's the part that gets me so involved in the community. And the other thing, being the military, you're being told to be a leader. So as I practice my leadership skills and building up my leadership skills, I need to exercise them somewhere. Not for the formality of like exercising them, but like for being that I'm doing something that I want, that I have idea of, and something that makes me feel like I can make a change. That's where I say the military has helped me, like being in the community to serve, to be dedicated to my people, and to be part of them.
Right. Well, again, thank you so much for serving and for sharing all this very, very, very important information regarding the army, how to get into the army, how you succeed in the army. Uh, so before we go into the next section of questions, which are going to be more about inspiring the people within the community, or encouraging them, like literally being like the recruiters, the indirect recruiters, because I was very I think I was very taken by the recruiter who recruited Zash, because he kept calling even after 1.5 years and trying to convince her
They
to
do.
come. I think that's being proactive.
They'll call you even if it's 5 years.
I will tell you. They do.
That's amazing. But like, I don't know if they do the same things in Uganda. I don't know. I don't understand the system in Uganda and how it's really done. But I think it's very important for people here, Ugandans, to learn that it's no, like, going into the army is something that is rewarding, something that should embrace, so that we don't have to be fearful telling our parents that now I'm going to join the army, and then hopefully those conversations will be more embraced than they have been in the past, and especially now that we have very many successful people who have served in the armed services. 1 minute for a drink break.
This is the state of the nation. Rifa Mwanga. We are deliberate, we are reasonable, we are uncensored. The state.
All right. It's not really a minute, but nonetheless, we are back. Afande Momo. Yeah, you're both Afandes. Afande Momo, I want you to talk directly to the girls out there. The reason why we had this for women is because we want to encourage more women to get into armed services. especially here in North America, either in the US or Canada. What do you tell a young girl out there who is looking at you and they are contemplating getting into the army? What would be your advice to them? And why should they even think about it? You're muted.
When I look at the girl child, I look at myself back then when I was studying, and when I was in school. I never thought about the army. Never. I never thought that I would end up in the U.S. Army at all. It was never on my list at all. But here I am enjoying it and living the dream with this profession of the arms. So, my girl child out there, if your dreams are changing and they change and gear you to somewhere where you never thought you would be, but when it is in line with some of your goals and passion, please do it. Please go for it. Please aspire to achieve more by going into ventures which you have never thought about, but which you have ever seen work. Why would I say that? When I joined the military, I did not see how it works for me at all. I was like, where's my legal? And they told me, you can do legal. I go like, okay, if I can do legal, okay. So I started now adapting to it. But before I was stunned by, I'm not going in because I want to do my legal. There's no way I've gone to school for all those years and I'm going to miss out on my legal. So I had to go through a certain phase because I could not get the legal immediately. You have to be a citizen of United States. And I entered when I was a legal permanent resident. So I had to go through years of being a coordinator in the transportation world. And in that coordinator, they gave me the diplomatic clearances. I used to clear different countries for the army to go through. So I used to still do some legal work in that arena, but I wanted to do my legal. So I asked how I can do that. And because you ask the right questions, if a girl child out there asks the right questions, he will be led to the right answers. So this is how we ended up with the right answer, and I ended up moving from that MOS and then get into the legal MOS.
Right.
And then I was able to, when I got my citizenship, that's how I moved. So then we got the girl child out there. If they're educated, if they have their degree, I would not tell them to come into the enlisted world. I would advise them immediately to go into the officer world.
Right.
If at all they have passion, there's a lot of jobs in the military people do not know about. Recently, I was talking to one of their funders on a party, and he was joining the engineering corps. He was joining the military engineering corps, building, construction areas. And I was very happy because when I was in Israel, I met those girl children who were into construction.
Right.
So I go like, oh my God, you've just reminded me, you guys are the ones who build Israel. Then he goes like, yes, we go into Israel. And I say, yeah, I was there for 3 months and I was able to witness the U.S. Engineering Corps do its work. So when somebody tells you I'm deployed somewhere, people think you're deployed to go fight, not knowing that even you're going to be deployed to build people's arsenals, to build good buildings which are going to be lasting on their bases. So a girl child out there, if you are into fashion and design, I haven't seen that in the military, fashion and design. But
can start.
Yes, Zash, is it there?
I say they have something related to sewing, and they teach you about designing clothes.
That's something I really want the girl child, any child, even I don't even want to say girl child only. I want to see the military teaches you hands-on skills.
Right.
So I want to see that these people have hands-on skills, because at the end of the day, the education may go, but what you've learned to use with your hands does not go away. So they teach people to cook. So we have a whole MOS on just cooking, kitchen area.
Right.
They will teach you baking, they will teach you woodwork, they will teach you architecture, they will teach you engineering. Generally, this skill, mechanical. One guy I'm really enrolling this week into the Air Force wants to do mechanical onto the Black Hawks, okay? Helicopter
Right.
mechanical. So you see that even when he leaves the military, this skill, he's going to move with that skill into the civilian world and use it. So now we are no longer telling people to go into the military just for the sake of it, but to go into the military with a purpose. When you come out after your years, the 20 years you can do, you can go into a different job altogether and formulate another job which has arisen out of your military education.
Right.
So that girl child, what I'm telling that girl child is that your dreams can be realized in the military, and you can have 2 retirements out of it. If you start young and join the military, you get the first retirement when you get around 30 years or 40. And
Right.
then from 40 to another 80 years, you have a different job, which will give you a second retirement. And then
Right.
some people even have third retirements, because now we are seeing, I would come up and say, we're seeing the president of the United States is 80 something. He's into something third sector, you know? So you see that people start up young and do things the right way and end up with 3 or 4 retirements, which is going to help them improve their lives and that of their families and that of their communities and that of their nation. So that girl child, I'm saying, do not look further. If you really do not know any straight line to take, join the military if you have the prerequisites to join the military. And by then, you will know, by 2, 3 years, you would have outlined yourself where you want to go, and you would have picked up the slack, and you would have run with the race, and you would never regret it. So that is my voice to that girl child.
Zash, how about you? Especially especially after having seen Afande Lieutenant Colonel Lukiah Mulumba being crowned Lieutenant Colonel or promoted to that rank. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So 5 years, because first thing, I'm going to work on my bachelor's degree, and I'm planning to go to ROTC school, which will be a 2-year thing. And I already talked to a recruiter for that. He said once I finish with my associate, then I can go to that. So once I go to that, I can transition to the officer school. The other option, I can talk to my commander and see if they can send me to officer school, which is 3 months. But to me, I'm thinking about the option of going to like the university when I'm doing my bachelor's, and I do it that way. So I feel like I've been thinking and thinking. I think I'm going to renew my contract once this expires in 2024. I'm more likely, greater chances that I'll renew my contract. So yeah, the other thing, I compiled up like a couple of like PowerPoint slides that show people how they can join the military and like the likely things that the likely steps that they can go through, the benefits and all those things. So, excuse me. I don't want people to think like these stories we've been telling that the military is hard. It's not hard. We get like lifetime challenges that are way even harder than basic training.
Right.
we like all the times, like in our own lives, in our personal lives, we are on our own. We don't even have anybody looking out for you. We have a
Right.
bunch of friends who don't even care about like us. But the thing in the military, every minute, every day, you have somebody who looks out for you. Like every week, I get a call from my motor sergeant. He's like, hey, he calls me Nantenza. Hey, Nantenza, are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay. Don't just stay quiet if you're struggling. Reach out to us.
Right.
Every time I go, like, I go to my unit, my commander always, he looks out for me. He's like,
Yeah.
hey, are
Yeah.
you okay? That really feels me, like makes me feel I really like this. I like people care about me. They care, not only care about like the military life, they care even about my personal life, my school life, like where I want to see myself. And they'll be
Right.
like, have you thought about this? So for all those people there, this is something like I feel like everybody should go through this, like going through the military training. This is something I say like whoever has a chance and an opportunity, try out this thing. You're never going to regret because it wakes you up and makes you think about life. Think about yourself. Think about how you straighten up things. Like learn discipline for yourself and know where you're supposed to be, know what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And so one thing I'll tell the girl, like the people out there, join the military, you're not going to regret. Because in the military, like everything is there. If you want to go to school, you will serve like an officer. Those are the big people we look up to. If you don't want to go to school, you can still build a career in the military. You can there are so many technical jobs that you're going to do and get out, then go like come in the civilian world and use your diploma from the military, you get a job. When I was
Right.
doing my clinicals, my radiology clinicals, the guys I worked with, they never went to college. They just had like diplomas from the military. They were radiologists. They were in there taking X-rays, and they
Right.
said, "You know that we never went to school." For people who
From
want to do like who are interested in technology, cybersecurity, you go like for all those who have just joined the college. This is the best place where you can get your training, like your how is it called, like your experience.
yeah,
Like every employer is going to hire you if you have the experience from the military.
that's true.
The moment you list it down, they're going to take you. You can build a career like that. You study that, then you transfer in the civilian world. Then
That's
even so many things for those, like they'll pay for your tuition, you will have medical coverage, you will have life insurance, you will have like there are other benefits related because there are like places where they be like, oh, military people go here and get this and go this. I go like I travel to so many different places, I go to every museum, I don't pay for anything. I just pull out my ID. Yesterday I was at a military I was at the museum. I just pulled out my ID. I didn't pay for parking. Parking was like $15. I didn't pay for that.
so
And
there are benefits that come with serving as well.
come along like
Yeah.
Yeah.
with that.
Zash, have you ever traveled first class? Because that's also coming your way, you know? And then
Correct.
they bump you up to first class because it has ever happened to me. And I'll go like, yeah, they say, thank you for your service. And then if you've traveled on Veterans Day or Memorial Day, they can all have a standing ovation for you on the plane.
You
Wow.
don't even have to
You
wait
find
in the
somebody
line.
to give you don't have to wait in line. You got to find somebody to buy you a drink and then says I've taken care of all your food and drinks while you're moving. There's a lot, and everybody is just, I like America because it really recognizes service people, that whenever you go they will say thank you for your service. Last time, yesterday on Veterans Day, I was in Capitol Grill, and they had to create me something special just because I'm a veteran. And they go like, "Oh, happy Veterans Day," and I was like, "Thank you," and it was free and special and given to me. So such things make you love to serve more. Right now, we have free healthcare benefit after you have served. You have a certain retirement package. They give you certain money, which is allocated to you. You have a VA loan, issued out to you. So this VA loan, you can use it for business or you can buy your house, anything that you want to do with such. So land, yeah, I should tell people about the security clearance. Yeah, those jobs, especially now my legal job. Yes, we do have to have security clearance, and I tell people it's something that you need to work hard for, to build on your credit. Most of the security clearance is affected by your credit. You need to know your credit history. You need to be able to pay your dates. And then you need not to be associating so much with the foreign world.
Right.
Because in the security clearance, there are three: top secret, secret, and confidential. Okay. So these three ladders, when you have top secret, you can work even in the Pentagon. You can work with the president himself because you
Right.
have top secret. So when some Ugandans are working or are trying to make sure that they are building their security clearance, some other people are jeopardizing these people's chances to be people who are working in the Pentagon just because of the bad reputation of PR they put on people's records. But the security clearance comes in with your family. If you're a person who gets married more often, all those people are supposed to be on your clearance, whether you divorce them or not.
Right.
So you're gonna jot down all that craziness of your lifestyle. And then if your people, most of them are in foreign world, you gotta list where they're at and also know how they have to go into being talked. They'll go down in there and ask them those questions, how they're related to you, what they're doing, so that they can curb on the espionage. Okay. And
Right.
then they can also go into the actual where you have worked, your previous working, your previous residence, your people who have been interacting with in the community. All those people build in your secret clearance. So with that, they will give you an interim when they're trying to get you into which branch they should give you. And then afterwards, you would have your secret clearance for 10 years, some 5, you know, but then some as needed was 3 or 2 years. So that is very key for you to get a good job. Because if you're gonna be somebody who's gonna work in a high tier, you need the secret clearance. You're not going to just go in there just because you have the credentials, the PhDs and degrees. That won't work. We're gonna see that we're gonna have that.
Right.
Yeah.
Zash, when you listen to all that, like, do you feel blessed that you actually made that decision to join the army?
Like, like I said at the beginning, this is like the greatest decision I've made here now in the United States in my whole life. So, cause like it's getting my life where I want it to be. Like I'm not
Right.
yet there, but I see I'm on the line to get where I want to be.
Right.
So I don't want like anything that is going to come in between all that. I'm trying to like maintain this, keep up with this. It takes a lot. Like there are a lot of things that you want to do in life, but you have to hold on to them. It'd be like before I joined the military, I used to like do my hair all the crazy colors I wanted. Right now, I cannot even do them because I know like I'll braid the braids like they'll be purple maroon, and 1 week down the road, I'll have like my drills, and my motor sergeant will be like, "What's that?"
I
So
know.
that all comes to discipline. Like it puts you where like I say a straight line, it puts you on a balanced straight line.
Right.
Like that. Like I feel like every time I feel so blessed. I feel like I'm so glad that I made these decisions. I feel like everything is okay.
And on that note, I would like to send our sincere gratitude to some of the folks that have been serving in the armed forces, including Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Lukiah Mulumba, who serves in the U.S. Forces, Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Ivan Edwards, of course, to you, Sergeant Maureen Asiimwe. There's also Afande Fiona Magara. She's also in the U.S Air Force. Afande Frederick Mulika is also in the U.S Air Force. We do have Specialist David Mutiava in the U.S Army. PFC, you're going to have to explain to us what that means. What does PFC mean? Yeah, but in the moment, I'm just
in fact, let me tell you, some people who you're reading right now have crossed over. We wanna say that during COVID, we are blessed to see having a second lieutenant come out of us, and that is David Mutiava. He did the ROTC, which Zash is talking about. You know the ROTC. The beauty of the military is, for us who came into the military when we've already studied, we don't qualify for all these beautiful benefits. So that's why we tell the people who have to go the route they gotta go so that they improve in rank. So they come in and they have a degree, okay, or they are not yet finished with their degree. ROTC gives you that college so that you finish up your degree, and when you finish it, you automatically enroll as what? An officer. So we are glad that Afande Mutiava did that, finished it, and now he's a second lieutenant. And I gotta tell you, he's gonna be promoted soon to first lieutenant, because second lieutenant is just like a couple of months just for you to enter into the door, and the first lieutenant, you're already kicking it off. So before we know it, he will be first lieutenant, and he's in the supply world, and he's gonna be doing wonders. The same thing happened to also Senyonjo.
Right.
In the same way, he is in the Air Force, and
Air Force,
he is now the first lieutenant. So every young person now, we are training them not to go our route, but to go a route that is gonna push them to where we want to see them, because we want to see people become generals from Uganda. That is our biggest. We want to see the sergeant major of the army from Uganda. Those are the things that we are looking at, and we're seeing now we're going to get snipers. We have another Fanda Gaba. He's training in the sniper world. That is all he does. That's all he wants is in the infantry, and he's doing well. And he is now he has improved. He's now in the specialist rank, but he started off as a private. So he's coming up along the ladders, and before you know, he will be a Green Beret, he will be an airborne, and do all these kind of trainings that set you apart from other peers. The army trains you, or the military trains you to set you apart. That's why you find that, oh my God, I want to be like Afande Momo. There's something that set me apart from my other peers, and somebody goes like, I want to be like Afande Nantenza, I want to be like Afande Lukiah. They're there, they're set apart for a reason, because every MOS, which is a job, MOS is a job or area of concentration, takes you into a different arena where you can tap into different skill sets. And these skill sets build your leadership, because for us in the military, we believe everybody's a leader because we're trained that way. because you're going to lead somewhere. When your boss falls down, the next in queue takes up. So before you know it, you can be fighting on the battlefield, and all of you are being taken down. So you go into the next rank, and before you know it, you're the one leading. So we train as if we are all in the same rank and same leadership, and that is what brings us to be unique, because everybody you find the same skill set being displayed, So we're happy that we have Lieutenant Colonel Mulumba who made it, and we are happy that we have Major Musisi in there. We're happy we have Lieutenant Colonel Edwards. When I was introduced to Lieutenant Colonel Edwards by Mr. Ronnie Mayanja, I was like, "You're joking," I was mesmerized. I was so happy. To me, every achievement of a Ugandan who is breaking the barriers or the ceiling in the United States, to me, that is awesome. And I like to empower people. It's not that I want to see like everybody improve, everybody do their best, because that is built in us. The military taught me that everybody has to do their best. They are 100%, even though they're putting in everything they got to make sure that they're doing well. So us looking at those giants out there, I call them giants because they're soaring on eagle's wings right now.
Right.
And we who are in the ranks, we are proud. We are now saying, yeah, everybody just doesn't look at us and say, I don't know where Uganda is on the map of the world, Now they know where Uganda is. And when I speak, they just don't categorize me to be Nigerian or Jamaican immediately, but they tell me, oh, where are you from? And I'm able to talk about my country. But before, everybody was like, oh, you're from Nigeria, from Jamaica. Those are the places they know, Barbados, and that is it. And you're not even from any of those or near that. So, in fact, I remember one of my recruiter told me, do you click? And I said, what is click? And they said, there's an accent where people are click.
South Africa.
So I was like, no, I don't click. I've never and I don't know what it is. But that is it. So I had to teach people how to pronounce my name. Asiimwe was one of the biggest challenges everybody could have had. They would call me Asiimwe, and then I became Sergeant A, and they're always telling me Sergeant A. That's why, my alpha is always very significant everywhere I go. So then afterwards, when I got married and I go to Kalemba, everybody goes like, oh, you helped us so much. Because that one, they don't even butcher it, they just go. So they told me, leave us with Kalemba, never go to Asiimwe because we cannot.
But they need to learn your name. They need to be comfortable.
They cannot. It's difficult, and I'm telling you, everybody pronounce it in a different way, and you can learn. When they pronounce my son's name, my sons were so hot, and I'm telling you, every time they will be like, Mommy, I don't know if it's a military thing or something, but they're not pronouncing our names right. And I said, either did they pronounce mine right? Because they went to military school. So they would be like, Kakuska. And I'm like, who's Kakuska? Kakoza. And then he goes like, okay. And then Mapaji. And then I like, who's Mapaji? And that is Mpaji. So I tell them, stop, don't get annoyed with names. I want you to feel free. Pronunciation, people are learning how to pronounce those names. Keep telling them how your name is pronounced, and don't look at the name as something that is going to deter you from going to school. So those are some of the challenges. Another challenge really that I really face, I gotta tell you, is babysitting. As
for the mothers,
2 children and a single parent in the military, that was my biggest challenge. I had to leave my babies. I did 12 tours in Europe. And
12 tours?
12 tours in 12 different countries. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was always gone from my boys. And but when I was in California, because that was my first duty station, I was there for 4 years. So when I was in California, It's Fort Iowa in California. I went in there without my babies first, and then I came back to Boston, got my babies, and then moved with them. So when I reached there, I saw that they have a daycare, but the daycare also works the same time that this daycare as well, from 9 to 5.
Right.
But guess what? When you've just come into the military, they tell you, yes, it works 9 to 5. Sometimes it doesn't. It goes on to 7 to 6:30. And guess what? Your babies have to stay with you at the duty station or at your workplace.
Oh.
And because you can't leave them home,
No, you
so
can't,
you drive them there, and then they come, and my children were forming in ranks with me. I would line up with them, in the same ranks, and then and then they would tell me, okay, Sergeant A, you excused, and then I would leave and then go, but at least when I have reported and I've shown what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But the children themselves also find it challenging. It works on them because their parents are gone all the time. And I have to look for Zash, Henry, Mike, hey, those phone calls, would you babysit for me this time?
Right.
Yeah. So they would grow up in different areas. But the challenges my children face is because we keep moving a lot. Their friends are always gone. They never get those permanent friends,
Right.
Yeah, every time there's somebody coming, and as they're getting to know somebody, that person goes. As they're getting to know this person goes. So they kept on telling me, Mommy, we want to stay in one place.
I know.
So that we can keep our friends, we can keep our home, we can keep our things, because they were looking every time I was moving from different duty station to different duty station, and I'm always gone. In Europe, I was really gone. Most of the time, it's a European tour. Everybody says, oh, you're in Germany. But guess what? You don't sleep in your bed. You're always in hotels and going somewhere else to do different things. So it's a European tour in a tour. But I told them that I'll come back to the reserves, stay in one place, in one state, and then they will be able to live with my mama and know the people, my community, my people, learn my language, and do things in here. So that is how I ended up coming into the reserves, so that my children can have the stability which they so longed for, because they kept on telling me, now where are we going next? Now where are we going next? And I was like, oh no, I'm really, really working on my children's brain. And that is a selfish goal. I can do this thing when I'm in one place and still serve my country. And that's how I joined the reserves.
And I think that's not a selfish thing to do. I think it's good that you are thinking about your family and enriching them as well, because you cannot give what you don't have. So I think that it's good that you're looking out for your sons, taking care of them, taking care of yourself. So you are giving of yourself so that you can give even more to community, and we commend you for that. Mr. Mike Mukasa is telling us that the goal here is to see Ugandans making policies at Capitol Hill. And he assures you that we can achieve that by encouraging more veterans to participate in the local and national level politics. Are you ready for national politics or local politics?
Zash? Yeah, we have to be ready for, sorry that it's Zash, but we have to be ready for any politics, because that's how they are jeering us. They're brewing us or getting us into that role, whereby we cannot just look at community politics, where we are looking at these like our local conventions. No, we are now looking at breaking that ceiling, going in. Like I've told you, I want to see a Ugandan who is a chief of staff, a Ugandan who is heading the Pentagon, who is the presidential advisor. To me, those are the people. They're in the military. They come out of the military because we are the most disciplined people, and because we know how to follow orders. So those are the things that we want to see being done. Secretary of State, people who are going to advocate for United States when they're Ugandans, but in the American, arena, and and serving, and we would be proud of that. So we want to first build our ranks because we really need the ranks. But if we break to that ceiling and go that route too, we would be much appreciated. But it was Zash's question, so I would go back and yield to.
Well, it was for, I just mentioned Zash first, but I was going to call upon you as well. So, Zash, now your turn. As you prepare, I know you're studying ABCD, a lot of things. I don't know how many degrees you're studying for now, but what are you thinking about later on? Because I know now you are the youth representative for your region, female youth representatives representative for you now. Any bigger plans after that as you grow into military as well?
As I grow in the military, right now, it's something that I would put in consideration, but as of now, I got a lot of things like going on. I have a lot on my plate. So I don't say I don't like it. I really like it. I really like serving, but as for now, like, it's not something that I'm so much focused on.
Yeah, and I know you're not yet a mother, but when Afande Momo talks about those challenges that mothers face, mothers in the military face, I think we need to do another complete new conversation about this, and she'll probably figure out which people to build that program. But what comes to your mind? Have you seen mothers going through these experiences as well?
So I've seen a couple of them, but like one thing I came to realize, like these people, when you have friends around the military, like people you can trust, because I've seen a couple of my friends do this. They get like one person to like babysit their kids, or like they help one another. And like at my unit, they have like, because at my base there are so many different units, but they have that club that helps like mothers, women in service, like who are mothers, and they kind of help them with their kids. But the women in the military are the ones who came up with this, which is like, I think it's really helpful. I don't have so much to say about it because I haven't yet experienced it, but at least I know like people have been coming together like to help themselves.
Right.
Yeah, that group is called the Family Readiness Group. It is something that the military adapted or brought in because of the challenges mothers were getting and single parents. Because most people, like most females who come into the military at a younger age when they've given birth to kids, some do not even know how to handle them, and they don't know how even to handle themselves. So the spouses of military personnel, like let's say the general's spouse, would be heading that group.
Right.
And like sergeant major's spouse, the people who have had families or big families and have done it are the ones to mentor us, the young mothers who are coming into the military, on how to go about it. We do family care plans, and those family care plans you mention who you're going to leave your children with just in case you deploy. And those people are always going to have a power of attorney, which you give over them to take care of your family while you're gone. It's not easy because people have done that and they have been swindled.
Oh, right.
And their money taken off because they gave them those rights. Because you can't, even though you give specific, there's a time specific powers of attorney geared to certain goal. But there's a time when you really need the general, because this person may be the one to help you with your car when you're deployed. They may be the one to help you with your mortgage, maybe the one to help you with your family, maybe the one to help you send money home. Remember, us Africans who are sending money, we used to send it via MoneyGram all the time and Western Union. So your family
Yeah.
needed to do that. So all these were challenges that you got a second person who is seeing into your accounting, or and
Right.
that person, you have to trust that person. Most people came back, most soldiers came back downrange when their spouses have already eaten all their downrange money. And yet, when you're downrange, that's where you make the best money. So, may are coming back when you have an empty account. That's why you find people committing suicide, or people shooting themselves or shooting their spouses because of things like this. They get ugly in finance world. So the finances and uh, domestic violence and also adultery or things like that messed up always the trajectory. um, I wanted to talk about sexual harassment and sexual assault.
I know I was going to ask you about that question, but I was hesitant. I didn't know how to bring it up. It's good that you brought it up. So yeah, please go proceed.
Yeah, we in the females, I always, the females in the military have that coming along their way. When I had come into the armed forces, the numbers were high and they were not even reporting. The reporting mechanism was very slight. But as I've grown into the military, they've encouraged females to report. And we want to say that we want to live and work in an environment where I cannot look over my shoulder to see, hey, somebody's interested in me, or somebody wants to do ABCD to me, or somebody, we want to just work, come in, work like a normal job, enjoy, talk to each other as brothers and sisters, and make sure that we do well for the upcoming uh, forces. But
Right.
when we find one of our sisters or brothers into that area, or when they have fallen victim, we always want to tell them where to go, and we want to empower them that there are ways to overcome this, so that that stigma does not eat them up. Some people commit suicide because of what is going on in their workplaces. We discourage so much of a toxic environment workplace. We discourage so much areas where there is sexual assault, sexual harassment. I am a person, I'm an officer for equal opportunity and SHARP, which is sexual assault, sexual harassment. And I make sure that my unit is completely free of any sexual assault or sexual harassment or any discrimination. So I'm very big when I see discrimination anywhere. I'll always come up and tell you, you are really going overboard. There's no cause for you to discriminate. You can make your ideas and issues or your points without any discrimination. I believe that we should always make sure that the girl child knows their rights, that they cannot just give in or quid pro quo, which is something for something,
Yeah.
uh, for a rank. The beauty of the military, we work hard for our rank, and you have to gain it by your hard work. It's not handed to you, it's not given.
Right.
Everybody see attaining rank, you just say thank you for your service, because there's something that he has done tremendously to get wherever they are. So
Right.
if you find that somebody wants a shortcut in order to get a rank and gets a rank via quid pro quo, we have to nip that immediately. We got to stop it and make sure
Right.
things are done the proper way, and we have the same standard across the board. We do not want to get these standards hoodwinked or done in a way that is going to be compromised or compromise the profession of arms, because we're a
Right.
professional army.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we remove anything unprofessional in there.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you have brought that topic up and you have spoken about it. Uh, I know you also have a foundation, a Fundamomo Foundation. We are almost wrapping up, so I'm going to ask you once again to tell us more about Afande Momo Foundation, what it does and why it's important, how the military, your participation in the military services have influenced how you operate within the Afande Momo Foundation, and then tell us the final message for this conversation, and then we shall go to Zash to also give us the final thoughts about the army and how people should look at the army and embrace it. So, Afande Momo,
Yeah,
tell
thank
us
you so
about the
much.
foundation.
So I want to talk about the Afande Momo Foundation. Thank you for giving me that opportunity to bring in my foundation. Afande Momo is just that it's my name, Afande Momo, which I drive out of service. The name Afande, I was given it by the Boston community, which they say I'm their Afande because I'm always their soldier who I come in to always serve them whenever they need me. So Momo was given to me as a childhood nickname for Maureen. So the foundation itself, it's an empowering foundation. All I do is to empower people because that's what I'm very good at. And everybody knows that once you come to me, I don't look at somebody's going to be more excellent than me or somebody's going to get more money than me or anything. I just want you to propel further. So I want you to fly as high as possible. So my foundation, that is what it's up to. It forms it nurtures you in your childhood nest, in a bad nest. And then when you're ready, it will put you out and you'll be able to fly. And that will be you. It does it through education. It does it through the youth, the elderly. It does it through the military personnel who come to me. It does it through community service. We do it through breast cancer. That's why I'm all pink. I like breast
Right,
cancer.
right,
And I'm always advocating for that. And it does it through sanitization. We are building pit latrines for those schools where they do not have latrines, that when you get there, the girl child cannot even go in there to use the sanitary area so that they
right.
can get themselves cleaned out well when
Yeah,
having menstruation or something of the sort that has happened to them. So
yeah.
I want to make sure that at least a school has that the school setup has that, than them going to the bush or going somewhere to get themselves sanitized or to ease themselves.
Wow, thank you. That's great work that you are doing. You should look to Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in regarding funding. I think they do have some funding for organizations like yours. So look into it. Uh,
Thank
you
you.
could actually also message Melinda herself because she's very interested in empowering women in leadership,
Mm,
especially women who are doing the kind of work that
mm,
you're working on right now.
thank you.
Um, Zash, how about you?
Uh, what was the question? I'm sorry.
And so, give us your final thoughts about this conversation, really, because this was a platform given to women in service, military service. So, uh, do you think your message has been well received? And what can you tell the people who are out there about serving in the military as a woman, as a young woman who's building her ranks?
So one thing I think, like, this has been a great session for people who have attended it. Like, I'm sure like people have gotten out something. And for those who were unable to attend, they can still rewatch. Or I have I have some PowerPoint slides that I've been sharing with my friends that shows like what it takes to join the military, what you can get out, what like all about the basic knowledge about the military before you join. And one thing I should tell all the people who are like thinking about joining the military: before you join, know the reason why you're joining. Don't join for the sake of like being in the military, because that's how a lot of people get into the military and they come out, they don't have anything to show, they don't have anything to talk about. There's so many MOSs that are not going to help you in the civilian world. It's good to serve. I feel proud that I'm serving, but join with a purpose. That's one thing. And always don't get lost when you get there. Don't feel so comfortable, because people get too comfortable and they be like, well, after all, I get my salary. That's not the thing. That's not the reason why you're in the military. You also have your personal life. We serve the nation, we love it, but we also have our own lives. And don't be too lazy, don't be too comfortable, don't be too like everything. Because I want to see like everybody getting better. And we are going to continue holding like such shows. We are also planning up something to come up, like talk about the military. Like this is basically going to be about like how to join and how to go through everything. Please don't miss that. Don't like betray yourself. I call it betraying yourself, where you don't care about yourself, like everything. And I really appreciate you, Mr. Henry Ssali, like for giving us this opportunity to be here. It's like I'm so glad, like I always feel honored to talk about the military.
Well, I think everyone out there appreciates you. We appreciate all of you, the work you're doing, giving of yourself, deciding that you know what you're going to serve, and we are going to talk about it. You're going to tell the people about our service. Of course, there's sometimes when you face challenges, like when Pande Momo talked about a period when we saw a lot of caskets, every TV show pretty much bringing those caskets back home. Those were tough times, and we pray for the families and thank them for having offered their children to go and serve. We appreciate you guys. Afande Momo, as you wrap up.
As I wrap up, I remember there's a Ugandan who died while I was in Germany. He was called Mulumba. He's one of the Ugandans I've seen who has died in the force so far. And he died when he had just finished his reserve. So when you said a difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day, I want to recycle you back that on Memorial Day, I remember him because he was one of the people who I was associating with that time. The few people we knew each other in the military, he was one of them. And then he just passed, finished a drill, went back home, and then he died. So to me, that was heartbreaking. And I'm glad the military does the funeral detail well. That's why you need to be insured with life insurance via the military, because they shipped him till home to his ancestral burial home. And he was able to be buried with honors. So in wrapping up, I say that Veterans Day is a very beautiful day. We raise that flag higher, and we are people who fight for the cause, a good cause, to give everybody freedom in United States of America. And elsewhere, we are always agents of the United States of America in different countries, because wherever we fight, we leave a base and we never leave. So, somehow you'll find a Ugandan somewhere. The moment you know that they've gone into that country, just know that there's a base. And we will always represent the United States, and we will always be ready to serve. I'm glad that I want to see more women into the forces. And yesterday I met one actually, who is a female Armed Force lady. I did not know whether she was Air Force Marine, because she was like, no, I want to stay in my own cocoon. I've met, there's still people like that. They don't want to come out to say they're in the military. They feel shy. I don't know. But I want to empower them to always come out. We have formed a group. It's called Uganda American Veterans in the Diaspora, and Uganda American in the Military. So that group involves all of us. We are there with Colonel Mulumba, Major Msisi, Master Sergeant Sandy, all the Mchavas, Senyonjos. So we are getting a number. We are bringing everybody on board to join us. so that we know each other. We know who has done what, and also mentor each other into the ranks, because it's very important. We know which MOSs to go into and gain rank real quick, and those which are going to derail you and make you go slow in rank. We all know these things, so we are able to advise, mentor, make people do what they need to do in order to gain rank and get the usefulness of being in the military. So that is something that we look forward to for more Ugandans to join, especially the girl child or the female out there who is leaving the university. I'm glad one of the people who I'm going to be, who's going to be joining soon, is going to be my son. He's going into the ROTC program because I want him to go to West Point at one point.
Oh, it's
So
great.
I'm working to see a first Ugandan in West Point. I pray and I say, like, I want you in there so that we get some product, at least history is made somewhere. We're looking for history. We are breaking barriers.
Right.
So, but he may be in there, he may not. You know how children change their mind, but I wouldn't hesitate to give it another talk show to another child, anybody who will do it, and going to West Point, so that we can get a cadet out of there. That will be beautiful. Women in West Point is another thing, and women in the infantry. We haven't gotten any Ugandan in the infantry world who is a woman. So if we get that one, is also beautiful trait. And because that is a sniper, an airborne, a hua. That one we call them a huas, because when you see them, you just know that they're geared in a certain way, and there are things that the way of looking is different. I want to see a Marine female, because also Marines are beautiful to associate with. There are no jokes. I gotta tell you, Marine's mind, is a beautiful mind to tap into, because for them, they're just straight on. I
Right.
want people who have come from Marine to join the army,
Yeah.
and they find it tough when
Right.
the beauty of the army, it brings in all other branches, but you cannot get from the army to go into other branches. But you can come out of Air Force, join the army. You can come out of Navy, join the army. You can come out of the Marines and join the army, but you cannot get from the army to the other forces. So that's the beauty of it. And we get to see how the other branches have been operating, and
Right.
we get to know how, what's the beauty in the other branch that is not in your branch. And so when we are advising people, you may find and say, "Yeah, Maureen is in the army. Why is he advising people to go to Navy? Why is he advising person to go to Air Force? Why is he advising this person to go to Marine?" Because of what I have witnessed or heard from the other branches.
Right.
Maybe to talk to somebody and gear that person to the right place where they need to be at. So with that said, I thank you so much for this program, for bringing women in the boots, because we are the ones in the boots at the same time in the high heels.
Yes.
And then we can have some lipstick and all makeup, and then you find us when you're all the gloomy bed. But we love all the transformations we have, because when you find us cleaned up, yes, we are women in boots who clean up, and we clean up well. Thank you so much.
Women in boots. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot thank you enough for your services, both to the country and the community. So thank you so much for everything that you do. This conversation you can only find at the State of the Nation. Of course, the State of the Nation is sponsored by the African Alumni Association at the University of Toronto. You can rewatch this conversation on our channels. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter. You can also find this conversation on Periscope for those of you who are using Periscope. But you can also message me directly or the association directly, and we shall send you the information. I want to thank Mr. Robert Chigundu for featuring some of this conversation of the Bifa Mugwanga on his platform as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to everyone who has been watching this conversation. I want to send my sincere gratitude to the current council speaker, UNA council speaker, Mr. Afande Mukasa, Mike Mukasa, for everything that he does for the community, but also for serving. Again, thank you so much to the amazing ladies in the room. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please send my sincere gratitude and congratulations to Lieutenant Colonel Mulumba. It's unfortunate that she couldn't make it because of
she couldn't make it. She had to.
Yeah, so because of the technical issues and other duties that called during the conversation, but hopefully we shall get her at some point when everything has been better streamlined. Again, thank you so much for joining this conversation, and have a great Sunday evening or Sunday morning if you're still in California. Or San Francisco, where Lieutenant Colonel Mulumba is located, and everyone else. Thank you so much. Have a great Sunday. God bless you.
This is the state of the nation. Rifa Mwanga. We are deliberate, we are reasonable, we are uncensored. The state of the nation with Henry Ssali.